Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 17th of February, 2026, Taco Tuesday. Yeah, folks, when's it going to come to a head? When's it going to pop like a festering boil? It's coming soon, folks. And the media's going to distract you every way that they can, and that's what they do. And guess what, media? You won't be trusted anymore. Yeah, I'm sorry that Savannah Guthrie's mom got kidnapped. I'm sorry that happened, but my God, the entire media, every alphabet agency, every network is just 24/7 shoving that story down your throat. It's a distraction, folks. And the timing of it is just amazing. I'm not going to get into all conspiracy theories, but I mean, there's so much other important stuff going on. We're on the brink of going to war right now. I mean, with Iran. And I got to tell you, if that happens, China and Russia have already said, hey, look don't mess with Iran. If you mess with Iran, you're messing with us. And, you know, America sees it. There are a lot of people. But you see, there's this little country that is basically taken over our country, and that's what they want to do. I'll get into that in a couple minutes. But anyway, I just wanted to welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist. And yes, I took the day off yesterday. It was a busy weekend, and I stayed up late on Sunday. I wasn't expecting to. On Sunday, in our little VFW here, we have a pool tournament. We do it every Sunday, and we usually have like a dozen or so people, and we make brackets, and we all have a good time and everything. And then after that, everybody was thinning out, and I was getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden the doors open, and about, 40, 50 people, they all just came into this little tiny VFW, and it turned into a madhouse. And I was sitting there. I know the guy tending bar, and he was rolling his eyes. Oh boy, here we go. And anyway, what happened is I ended up into a conversation with a couple of these tourists. They were all Canadian. They were all from Alberta. And I asked a question, and the next thing I knew, there were like 4 or 5 people all sitting around. They wanted to know what I felt about the possibility of Alberta coming into the States. And I wanted to know what their feelings were about how they're handling their secession from Ontario. Anyway, we ended up in a long conversation. Very, it was nice to talk, on an intelligent level with a lot of folks about this particular topic, especially because they come from Alberta. So anyway, the general consensus is, well, no, we're not really interested in becoming the 51st state, but we are interested in cutting our ties with Ottawa. Because all of our money, we're the moneymaker. Alberta's the money-making province in Canada. And Saskatchewan is also thinking about it. So whether they're going to basically declare their independence or secede or long shot become another state of the United States, I don't know. But there's one thing for sure, and that's the Albertans are not happy with the Canadian government, nor should they be. But anyway, I ended up staying up late and having a nice conversation, and it was enlightening. And it was, like I said, I was going to go home early. But when you get a chance to have a conversation with some people who are actually in the know on that particular topic, hey, you take advantage of it. So anyway, what is going on? What the heck is going on in this country? Well, I got to tell you. There is a very, very noticeable increase right now in propaganda. Of course, we know that TikTok has now been taken over, and there's all kinds of censorship going on there. And you can't say, of course, you can say anything you want against Israel, but you're automatically going to be labeled as an anti-Semite. And the argument here is it's got nothing to do with hating Jews. It has everything to do with Zionism. And they don't want that. They want to basically join at the hip, surgically attach the term anti-Semite with Zionism. So you can't insult or criticize Zionism, because if you do, you're an anti-Semite. Well, a lot of people are pushing back against that. But, the Israelis are pushing back just as hard. They are desperate to continue their propaganda, and it's not working. It's not working. So any of you folks out there that are pro-Israel and that you're on board with Netanyahu and their genocide that's going on over there, you're on the losing team. I don't care how much you've infiltrated this country. People are aware of it now. You can't get away with it. And, I got to tell you, even Bernie Sanders. Now, I haven't been on board with him. Yeah, early on when I was a liberal Democrat, I was sort of dancing to the Democrat tune, but that went away decades ago. And with what Bernie was standing up for over the past decade, wasn't on board with him either. However, he put the following statement out, and again, there are some times when a stop clock is correct, twice a day, as they say. But Bernie went on this rant, and I hope Netanyahu hears it, and I hope all of I hope that Mark Levin hears it. I hope that Ben Shapiro hears it. I hope that Josh Hammer hears it. I hope they all start to hear it, because Bernie was right when he said the following.
No, Mr. Netanyahu, it is not anti-Semitic or pro-Hamas to point out that in a little over 6 months, your extremist government has killed 34,000 Palestinians and wounded more than 78,000, 70% of whom are women and children. It is not anti-Semitic to point out that your bombing has completely destroyed more than 221,000 housing units in Gaza, leaving more than 1 million people homeless, almost half the population. It is not anti-Semitic to note that your government has obliterated Gaza's civilian infrastructure, electricity, water, and sewage. It is not anti-Semitic to realize that your government has annihilated Gaza's healthcare system, knocking 26 hospitals out of service and killing more than 400 healthcare workers. It is not anti-Semitic to condemn your government's destruction of all of Gaza's 12 universities and 56 of its schools, with hundreds more damage, leaving 625,000 students with no educational opportunities. It is not anti-Semitic to agree with virtually every humanitarian organization in saying that your government, in violation of American law, has unreasonably blocked humanitarian aid coming into Gaza, creating the conditions in which so many thousands of children face malnutrition and famine. Mr. Netanyahu, anti-Semitism is a vile and disgusting form of bigotry that has done unspeakable harm to many millions of people. But please, do not insult the intelligence of the American people by attempting to distract us from the immoral and illegal war policies of your extremist and racist government. Do not use anti-Semitism to deflect attention from the criminal indictment you are facing in the Israeli courts. It is not anti-Semitic to hold you accountable for your actions.
No, it is not. And yet, like I said, there are those out there that are desperate, absolutely desperate, to take control of social media and steer the conversation in their direction. It cannot and will not happen. I'm sorry, Pandora's box is wide open, and you can't stop it. The entire world sees what's going on. As a matter of fact, the Human Rights Commission put out the following statement recently, and I want you to listen carefully to the wording that they use to describe the death and destruction that's been going on in Gaza. Now, again, this is from the Human Rights Commission. Keep in mind that every human rights organization in the world has condemned Israel for their actions in Palestine and in Gaza. And, as the whole world. So it's the United States and Israel that are seen as the bad guys, and, well, we should be. And I don't know what it's going to take for the American people to get off of their big fat butts and get involved and stop their elected officials from going down this road. Now, I don't care if they've been bribed or they've been coerced or they've been blackmailed. You know, all sins can be forgiven if you come clean. Every sin, even murder, all sins can be forgiven. But unfortunately, our elected officials and people in the private and public sector have got their priorities completely screwed up, and they just have lost sight of their own humanity. But anyway, here's a statement from the Human Rights Commission, and I think that we all need to take it to heart.
In relation to Israel's military operations and attacks in Gaza from 7th October, we conclude that Israeli authorities are responsible for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and violations of international humanitarian and human rights law, including extermination.
Oh, did you hear that?
Intentionally directing attacks against civilians and...
Okay, I'm stopping it. I'm going to back that up. That's the word that you want to hear. Extermination.
Including extermination.
Yeah.
Intentionally directing attacks against civilians and civilian objects, murder or willful killing, using starvation as a method of war, forcible transfer, gender persecution targeting Palestinian men and boys, sexual and gender-based violence amounting to torture, and cruel or inhuman treatment. Israel's total siege of the Gaza Strip has weaponized the provision of life-sustaining necessities for strategic and political gains, including through cutting off supplies of water, food, electricity, fuel, and other essential supplies, including humanitarian assistance. It constitutes collective punishment, disproportionately impacting pregnant women and persons with disabilities, and is causing grave harm to children, including starvation-related deaths. We found that the immense numbers of civilian casualties in Gaza and widespread destruction of civilian objects and infrastructure were the inevitable result of an intentional strategy to cause maximum damage, disregarding the legal obligations of distinction, proportionality, and adequate precautions. Israel also forcibly transferred almost the entire population into small enclosures that are unsafe and uninhabitable. The deliberate use of heavy weapons with large destructive capacity in densely populated areas constitutes an intentional and direct attack on the civilian.
On the civilian population. That I got the end of it cut off. Sorry about that. But the key word is that the Human Rights Commission and all the other human rights organizations around this world are recognizing what's going on for what it is. It is extermination. And I don't care. Some people say, oh, what do you love Hamas? What do you love Muslims? I'm sorry. They're human beings. They're children over there. And children only learn what they're exposed to. If you take a child and you put them in France and raise them in France, they're going to speak French. If they're raised in Germany, they're going to speak German. If they're raised in the United States, hopefully they're going to speak English. The bottom line here is children grow up in the environment and they take on the characteristics of that environment. So if they're born into a Muslim world, they're going to be Muslims. But the point is that they are clean slates when they come into this world. They are children. They are the most innocent beings in creation. And you don't go killing. It's crazy. It is just crazy what they're doing. But I'll tell you, we've seen the videos, we've seen the interviews with some of the Israelis out there, and yes, they come flat out and say, yes, we have to kill all the children too, because they're going to grow up to be terrorists. Well, why do you think they're going to grow up to be terrorists? They have witnessed their mothers and fathers being blown to bits, their sisters and brothers losing their arms and legs, being sniped in the head or the genitals or the chest. They've witnessed their schools being blown up, their hospitals destroyed, their colleges and universities just decimated. So what do you expect them to grow up? You think these Palestinians are going to grow up and bake you a cake? These Israelis are out of their flaming minds. They are crazy. If they think that they have the right to go in there and just, and in using their words, exterminate an entire population, there's something very sick with that society. Something very sick when they can justify the murder of little children and babies. As a matter of fact, some of these IDF soldiers wearing a T-shirt, and on the T-shirt it's got a picture of a pregnant mother and crosshairs on her belly. And underneath it says, 1 shot, 2 kills. This is the mentality of these people in Israel. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but a huge portion of them, because they're brought up to hate anyone who's not like them. Anyone who is not like them is goyim, less than human. And that's how, in their mind, they can justify killing everybody that's not like them. I'm not killing any human beings. I'm just killing an animal. This is their mindset. This is a cancer of their of basic human principles. And so I'm sorry. I cannot and I will not make any excuses or condone the actions of Israel because they have the right to defend themselves. Oh, October 7th, that was a lie. Holocaust, that was a lie. 6 million, that was a lie. Lie after lie after lie. Why do they lie? Because it's the motto of the Mossad and the IDF, quote, by way of deception, lying. Thou shalt do war, killing. So in that one commandment of their military, they are breaking 2 of God's commandments, and they claim to be God's chosen people. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I got to tell you, Daniella Weiss, she's a piece of work. Here's a little piece of an interview that she did with, I don't know who the interviewer was, but Daniella Weiss is a very outspoken Jewish Zionist. And she basically, you want to talk about brainwashing. You want to talk about a cancer of human values. Listen to what Daniella Weiss has to say.
People say to me, why don't you explain to the Jews in the United States what is exactly behind your thinking? I explain. But I'm laughing because the right word for it, you have to brainwash all the time. You have to say, to explain it, to live it, to cope with it. My husband says to me, why do you speak to your children all the time about Zionism, pioneers in Judea and Samaria, settling, and all my family are settlers here. Because this is the only way to continue Zionism.
Okay, you have to brainwash all the time, from her own words. It's the only way to continue Zionism.
We want to have for the Jewish nation the promised land from the Bible, from the Euphrates
yes,
to the Nile.
And you know what's really incredible? Is that these people have the audacity to call Hitler bad names. I mean, and I'm not supporting Hitler, don't get me wrong. But, you know, if you call somebody a piece of crap, then if you call these people, pieces of crap, that's an insult to crap. I'll let her go.
And I'm sure it will be.
What about southern Lebanon?
If it is part of it, all of it. Even parts of Syria, part of Iraq, part of Iran. It's huge.
Do you think you have any way of convincing people that would be a good idea?
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. Now, these folks, this plan for a greater Israel, they think they have the right to go into Syria, into Iran, into Iraq, into Egypt, that whole area, because that's the Holy Land in their mind, that according to their religion. And again, it's their beliefs, maybe not my beliefs. And again, I've said so many times on this broadcast, it doesn't make any difference what you think. It doesn't make any difference what I think. What makes a difference is what they think. And they're bat crap crazy. I mean, I don't know. In what world can you justify their actions? Answer is you can't. Let's carry on here.
Convince many. Many people believe in it. I don't see anything anything extreme in my approach. It's the basic Jewish approach.
There's nothing extreme in her approach? Again, this is evidence. This is hard, documented evidence that these people have lost their humanity. They've lost their minds. They're just, I don't know what else to say. I really don't. But you know what? To just prove this point, there is a guy who posts, he's obviously an Israeli, he's obviously Jewish, and they come flat out and they say it, and they think they're justified. This is the madness that we're dealing with. And these are the people that we're sending billions and billions and billions of tax dollars every year, while Americans are struggling just to have a second nickel so they'll have two of them to rub together. But meanwhile, Israel, what do they do with all this money that we send over there? All this foreign aid, military aid, etc., 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 and all the networks out there on this. And I'm not talking about just ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. I'm not talking about the alphabet networks. I'm talking about OAN, One America News. I'm talking about Newsmax. I'm talking about Lindell TV. I'm talking about, RSV, I don't know, forget what it is, but there's a whole bunch of new television networks online there, and they're all still putting commercials out there, sob stories. This old Jewish woman, she's a Holocaust survivor, and she's eating porridge. She's so broke. We've got to send money for so much a month. You can give her some food. We have to send more money to Israel. Sign up now. What are you thinking? This is craziness. But I mean, again, they feel so entitled if we don't send over money to pay for their free health care. If we don't send money over there so that they can have free education. If we don't send any money over there so we can subsidize their housing. I mean, this is insanity. Just insanity. And again, we are appeasing the minds just like this one. Listen to this guy. I mean, he comes flat out and says it. This is just insanity.
Dear white people.
White people.
Dear Gentiles.
Gentiles, Goyim.
You've got to stop.
Oh yeah, we better stop.
I like you. I don't hate you like the rest of the Jews. But you have to stop.
Stop what?
You have to stop with hating Jews. You have to stop with the anti-Semitic comments. You have to stop telling everyone that we're all communists, that we all want to destroy the white race. I mean, yes, it's true.
Huh? What?
But you shouldn't be telling this to everyone. It makes my people angry. It makes my people do even worse things.
Worse than what?
Look what happened to Germany after Hitler took over. Mm-hmm. It was completely destroyed. Look what happened to John F. Kennedy. Look what happened to the Twin Towers.
Oh, why did he bring up JFK as if well, yeah, that's what we did. We can do that. To the Twin Towers. Oh, yeah, we could do that. Do you understand how sick this is? I mean, this is what we're dealing with. And like I said, their motto is, by deception thou shalt do war. And I'm looking for a clip here. It was an interview that was done many years ago with Connie Chung from NBC and Howard Lutnick. Yeah, same Howard Lutnick that's on Trump's team. Now, this is going to make you think a little bit. Excuse my conspiratorial attitude, but if you listen and you pay attention and you connect the dots and you use common sense, yes, I know it's illegal. I know that common sense and cognitive thought, critical thinking are all shunned and ridiculed and just about illegal. But I challenge you to do it anyway. Here's a little piece of an interview that Connie Chung did with Howard Lutnick many years ago.
Investigated.
Normally, you would have been in your office on which floor?
105th floor.
Okay, she's referring to September 11th, the September 11th attack. You would have been in the office. So, okay, let's let it continue.
On the 105th floor.
105th floor.
And yet you didn't go in early that morning because of a critical decision you made.
My little boy, I have a 5-year-old, and it's his first day of kindergarten at Horace Mann, so I took him for his first day of big boy school. And because of that, I was late getting down to the office, and therefore I wasn't in the building. I was on my way to the building.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on. I got that number. Cynthia, just hold on there. I'm in the middle of a clip here. Hold on. Now, you just heard Howard Lutnick say that he had to take his little boy to school for his first day of school, and that's why he didn't make it in to the Twin Towers when he was usually there. So he was late, and unfortunately, he got there too late. The towers had already been attacked. Now, that was what he said. However, let's listen to the other half of the story.
We both know that is a bold-faced lie. The first day at school at Horace Mann in 2001 and 2002 was September 6th.
September 6th was the first day of school, not September 11th.
2001, not September 11th. How stupid do you think we are?
Yeah. So, I mean, if he's lying then, I have no doubt he's lying now. Anyway, okay, let's go to the phone. Cynthia, I saw you were calling. Good morning. It's good morning for you. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. So, I'm no Bible scholar, but I had come across some information regarding Elijah in 2 Kings, challenging worshippers of Baal to a contest with his God, the true God.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah succeeded in the task, and Baal did not. So the people apparently fell upon the priests of Baal and killed hundreds.
Okay.
And now that you have pointed out that Jeffrey Epstein's family is from the cult of Baal, that's B-A-A-L, right, Baal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some kind of modern-day version of this playing out where they're trying to get retribution?
Retribution? Yeah, what? For what?
Against the Hebrews for killing all their priests.
Probably. I don't know. But what I do know is that, from what I've been able to ascertain from the Talmud and people who have been also doing some investigation, that is an evil religion. I mean, it's when you believe in blood sacrifice, and it doesn't necessarily have to be bloody. I mean, they can do it through vaccines if they want. They could do it through a sterilization if they want. Just as long as you're destroying human life and eliminating the population, that's just fine with their concept of blood sacrifice. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I just wanted to throw that out there in case you had any Bible scholars listening to you, that they could see whether there's some kind of interplay where the city of London was instrumental in the Zionist movement to get Jews to move to Israel, but there's very few of them are from the ancient Hebrew culture, and then there are some people that believe that the Europeans were really the Hebrews, and they migrated north for various reasons. So I just want to throw that out there because these ancient rivalries sometimes affect modern-day events.
Absolutely.
And the fact that these individuals worship Baal needs to be taken into account because they cover up their names and their identities, and we never really know who they are and when they're going to pop up.
Well, that's been going on for millennia. I mean, that's why they've been thrown out of 109 countries over the past, 1,200, 1,300 years. It's because, like the Mossad motto says, by way of deception thou shalt make war. And right now, this is an information war. It's a war for people's minds and attitudes, which is why they're trying so desperately to censor everything and take over social media. They've got to absolutely win this war. You should hear, maybe I can pull that clip up from Netanyahu a week or so ago. They have to use their propaganda machines to win the war. But it ain't going to work. It's not working. The more that they try to put that in place, the more people are now seeing that, yes, there is an information war. And yes, they are going to lose this war because the floodgates are open and the Pandora's box is open.
But don't they constitute most of the judges in this country?
I don't care. I don't care.
We can't trust the courts.
No, we can't. We can't trust the Department of Justice. We can't, go along with the FBI. No, it's all been infiltrated, and that's why people are saying, "Oh my God, we are facing a battle of Armageddon here," because they have completely taken over the West. And when I say they, I don't mean the Jews. Okay, they call themselves Jews, but they're not Jews. Okay, they are Talmudic, Luciferian, Satanistic, child-eating, blood-drinking monsters. Who basically masquerade as Jews.
in the communist movement, they were advised not to sign the oath of office and get it authenticated and recorded because it made it easier to prosecute them for treason.
Mm-hmm.
That's an avenue people have been overlooking, which is that find out if the judges signed an oath of office, authenticated it, basically that means notarized, and then recorded it within 30 days of taking office. Because if they did not, then they're supposed to be thrown out of office and forbidden from ever holding office again.
Mm-hmm.
And if the people who are in charge do not enforce that, I think the sheriff is supposed to enforce that. I could be wrong. We could ask CR. But if they don't enforce it, then they have violated their oath of office by not defending the Constitution. And they risk getting kicked out of office, too.
Well, who's going to kick them out if nobody's willing to enforce that? And we know that the county sheriff has the power. The county sheriff and the county mortician has the power to kick feds out of their county. But none of them are willing to do that. So they've already been bought and paid for. We all know the three magic words.
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, and if the sheriff doesn't play along, then he's not going to get that government grant. He's not going to get that new SWAT vehicle. He's not going to get all that new equipment and high-tech weaponry. So you just shut up, keep going, doing what we're telling you to do, and you'll be just fine. Don't you dare stick up for the rights of your people in your county, because if you do, well, there are consequences. And you know the three magic words I just played. So, you play along or you won't get all of that extra federal money and all the extra federal equipment, and that amounts to bribery.
Almost everybody in the military signed that oath of office, didn't they? Or the oath of...
Yeah, so what? So what? I mean, some of them, the military, a lot of them will take that to heart, and many are coming around. There are a lot of good guys in the military. They see what's going on, and they're not happy with it, and they're willing to fight and stand for the Constitution. But unfortunately, within the military, there's what you call green on green. Okay, there's the good green and the bad green. And the bad ones are, will stand for the military-industrial complex because it means lots and lots of money. And they love that money.
Retired military?
Well, a lot of the retired military, unfortunately, some of them remember they took that oath, and that's a lifelong oath. But there are others that have the attitude is, hey, I did my time. I'm done. I ain't going to do this anymore. I'm going to stick up to my bingo games and my football cards.
Run for sheriff. Challenge the sheriff if they're not going to honor the Constitution.
Well, that's just... Yeah, but unfortunately, the people who are going to cast the vote, and we already know the integrity of the voting system, you can get by that. But the point of, you can't make an informed decision if you don't have good information. And if the people are uninformed or misinformed, or they swallowed a lie, well, then chances are they ain't going to vote, constitutionally, because most of them just don't know. George Carlin was right. We've been dumbed down. Department of Education is a department of indoctrination is what it is.
Zia talks about how the state legislatures can actually recall a U.S. senator.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said under the 17th Amendment, which, by the way, actually never really passed, they didn't lose the right to recall a senator, to say, you have to vote like we tell you or we're recalling you.
Mm-hmm.
People need to tell their state legislatures to go after the senators for some of the ways they're voting. They're not voting in a way that protects our rights or defends our nation. They're giving away money to other countries that actually mean us harm.
Well, yeah. And that's why, I've said it on this show many, many times, these actions are treasonous. They take an oath, but did they take it seriously? Or do they actually really care because there's not going to be any legal ramifications if you're caught? Because the Justice Department is just as corrupted. That's why I'm saying we have a battle of Armageddon on our hands, because this entire Talmudic, Luciferian, satanic system has taken over the entire West. And you said it in the very beginning, the Rockefellers, what do you think that's a godly family? They're openly Satanists. And I remind all the listeners out there that Jacob Rockefeller was posing it for a photograph with Mariana Abramovic, who is a world-renowned satanic priestess, and the two of them were standing in front of a portrait of Lucifer releasing his legions. Now, people, it's obvious that the Rockefellers worship another god. And it was the Rockefellers who were behind the Balfour Declaration and the creation of a Zionist state of Israel. So is this a good thing or a bad thing?
The corruption of medicine, the practice of medicine.
That's a whole other thing. Thank you, John D. Rockefeller, who was in league with the Rothschilds. Yes.
Right. So I like defending physicians, pointing out that we were simply kept ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't understand that the textbooks actually were not accurate, that they were skewed to teaching us harmful habits rather than helpful ones and healthy ones. We didn't know. And when we found out and we started speaking out, the medical boards were sick on us.
Yeah.
A doctor could be accused of illegal practices for recommending vitamins and herbs.
It's quackery. It's quackery. Snake oil. You try to naturopathic medicines. Are you mad? You must prescribe the pharmaceutical drugs that we taught you to prescribe. If you don't, you will lose your license. That's the way it's held. And not only that, but they've got programs where you get financial kickbacks for how many vaccines that you give out to the kids and the families. I mean, it's all about the money. It's not about health. It's not about do no harm. It's about do make money.
Well, I would not say that's true of all physicians.
Well, not all of them, no, but I'm just saying that, the Rockefeller-produced pharmaceutical medical schools, that's what they teach. And you know it, too.
There's also a financial squeeze that happens by increasing the amount of busy work you have to do and forcing doctors into having to bill for medical care rather than accepting payments directly from the patient, where the patient can make a better decision because you're not sending off a bill to the government to have the government pay for it.
Well, that's another problem. That's another problem. People want to pay cash and say, okay, well, look, how much is this bill going to be if I pay cash? And it's like, $200 or something like that. But you have insurance. So we have to let the insurance pay for it. And the insurance ends up paying like $1,500 because it's such a scam. So the point is, once you have health insurance, you have to stay on that health insurance. So any procedure that you go in there is going to be dealt with a very inflated price, as opposed to if you went in there without insurance and paid it out of your own pocket. So the whole damn system is corrupt. Sorry, sweetie. I'm sorry. There's no way out. That's why I'm saying we're dealing with a battle of Armageddon. This whole thing has completely permeated every aspect of our society, from medicine to big oil, big pharma, to media, everything now. And this is why the whole damn thing's got to be shut down.
God bless the homeschoolers.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, people are taking their kids out of the public school system and doing that. And many teachers are starting to realize, hey, look if I form a homeschooling group, if I have, say, 10 students, and how much do the parents have to pay for daycare? Well, guess what? For less than that, you could send your child over here to a homeschool. If I've got 10 clients and 10 students, hey, that's a full-time job for the teacher, and the parents know that their kids are getting a decent education. To hell with the public school system. I think teachers ought to go independent all over this country, and they'll actually make more money. They'll have much more satisfaction in their job. The kids get a better education, and the parents know that the kids are being taken care of. That's a win-win-win-win situation. Teachers out there, consider forming your own group. Make some money and take good care of the kids. I think it's a great idea.
Well, it is postulated that by getting too organized, you may end up inadvertently arranging for government intrusion into your home.
Well, I can tell you what. I've got 5 fingers on my hand, and the one in the middle is the one I would use to communicate my feelings to them. So, anyway.
And what? Okay, bye.
Okay, Cynthia. You take care.
I'm going to turn you positive somehow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't need me popping bubbles here, but reality sucks. The truth is a bitter pill. It's always hard to swallow. And I'm sorry, but I will not stop telling the truth. What?
They believe you become more creative, though, if you stay positive.
Well, that's true. That's true. But look, I'm not stupid, I'm not crazy, and I don't lie. And there can be a million lies, but there's only one truth, and I'm going to stick to that one truth. Because, like they said, you could strike a match, and it'll destroy an entire room of darkness. So let me strike the match, or blow the trumpet, or whatever you want to say. I'm not going to stop. So, all right, sweetie, gotta go.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of, people are now, like I said, seeing this going on all over the country, and they're really pissed off at Trump and his cabinet because he's not coming through with what he promised during the campaign. And the number one thing he said during his first presidency, it was that to protect the children, go after this whole thing. And now he got in for his second term, it was just the exact opposite. What happened to Trump? Is that the real Trump? Is there a clone or a body double? Did they take the real Trump away? Or maybe he succumbed to some major threat against himself and his family. I don't know. But he certainly flip-flopped, and I tell you, it's got a lot of people really pissed off now. People out there saying, I'm not going to vote Republican ever again. God help us if we end up with Kamala Harris. I don't know how that's going to work. But I don't know, we're going to get whatever they give us as far as the corrupt voting system is concerned. But there are, like I said, more and more people all over the country that are basically, saying, do your job, what you promised to do. And here's just one of dozens and dozens of clips on social media of people who are really pissed off at Trump. Anyway, I'm going to let this man have his rant.
If I lose followers over this video, good. Watch this clip and I'll be right back.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. There was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare,
justice, Mr. President?
something that people care about?
Oh, we care. I'm a conservative, and I voted for you, and I care about this more than anything. There are very powerful men in this country doing terrible things to children, walking around like it's all good. Why hasn't anyone been arrested? I don't care what's going on in any other country because I live here in the USA. And I could be wrong, but it seems like our whole country is ran by rich pedophiles who do whatever they want and have no consequences. I voted for you to bring the fucking consequences. You're the president. Do your job. You have all the power. These people should be put to death or at the very least put in prison. And you're not just a president. You're a father. And I'm a father. And our job above everything else is to protect our children. Do your fucking job.
Mm-hmm. And that's putting it mildly. Now, there are, like I said, dozens and dozens and dozens of people posting on social media, and they're not just talking prison. They're not just talking perp walks. They're not just talking orange jumpsuits. They're not just talking ankle bracelets and handcuffs. They're talking nooses. They're talking guillotines. They are talking about wood chippers. Yeah, let that settle in. People are that pissed off. And it's not just here in the country. The noticing is continuing all over the world. And let me bring you up to speed what's going on down in Argentina. We heard several weeks ago that there were fires breaking out in Patagonia, one of the most beautiful spots on this planet. And we find out that last November, President Milei of Argentina passed into law that says that all of the lands in Argentina, which were never for sale for international interests, well, they changed it. If there are forest fires, if a piece of land gets burned, then that piece of land can go up for sale for international interests, which means, who else? Israel. Yeah, that's right. So what do you suppose happened? They started having forest fires down in Patagonia. And you know who was caught red-handed setting the fires? IDF veterans, Israelis. So now people in Argentina are losing their cookies over this. So far, over 150,000 acres have been burned in Patagonia. And Chile has offered to send firefighters over to help Argentina. But there's been no response from Milei's regime. None. They smell the money. This is some sick stuff, folks. I am telling you, we've got to pull this out. We have got to. Anyway, and this is why people are saying, look, we are facing a battle of Armageddon. There is no doubt about it. And even the Japanese are seeing it. There's a statement here by, well, I have to assume this Japanese gentleman is a samurai, but he made a very interesting statement, and he spoke in Japanese, but I will do my best here to read the subtitles. And he says, what the Jews fear the most is samurai. Samurai. A Jew, Judea, is someone who hides behind the curtains and pulls strings without ever revealing their true identities. Treachery is their forte. Samurai are the complete opposite of that. When I say samurai, I'm not referring to the Japanese samurai as clans solely, but to all of the nations of the world. Let me see, I had to stop that. To all the nations of the world who are brave and courageous enough. The wild western gunslinging cowboys and the Americans who fought in the revolution and won their freedom can also be called samurai. He's very quiet on this. Where is it? Keep going. Obviously, there are samurai in Africa and other countries as well. He's serious as a heart attack, too. Therefore, an earthly operation is about to commence. That is an operation to completely overturn the status of rule and subjugate the Jews. In order for this operation to succeed, all of the samurai of the world have to rouse oneself into action. This is what the Jews fear the most. That's interesting. Yeah. So I thought you might find that interesting. Yes, and I think that it's true. We are all, in his eyes, if you're willing to stand for your principles, then you are samurai. Anyway, wow, that's a pretty heavy message, and I'm right on board with it as well. Anyway, just a quick break.
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
If you understand those three words, those are on a T-shirt that we've got for sale at TheWTFReports.com. I humbly request that you visit our website and pick up some merch. Get a coffee cup or a baseball cap or a T-shirt, or do some business with our advertisers, one of which is, of course, Get More Tank.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now, the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get More Tank by visiting our website, of course, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page. It'll take you down to a window where you can find out all the specifications and details about Get More Tank. And once you understand why this stuff works, I don't understand why you're not getting it. You're not trying it. This is a win-win situation. It's going to help you in your car. It's going to make it run better. It's going to make it run cleaner. And you're going to save money at the gas pump. So, hey, go to our website, the WTF Reports, and Get More Tank. And while you're there, you might notice the pop-up window for Wave Watch. Yeah, you'll get a $100 discount if you use the Red Pill 101 promo code. That's exclusive for our website. So, it's a good time to pick up a Wave Watch, too. So visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. All right, in the closing minutes of the program, I want to share with you a couple of quotes here. One is from Bezalel Smotrich. He's the Israel finance minister. He says, and I quote, "We will never allow a single grain of wheat to enter the Gaza Strip." How kind of you. And then there's Amihai Ben Alihan. He's the Israeli heritage minister. He said, and I quote, "The army must find ways more painful than death for the civilians in Gaza. Killing them is not enough." And these are God's chosen people, keep in mind, right? All right, there's another quote here from Bezalel Smotrich. He says, and again, I quote, "It might be, quote, justified to let 2 million Palestinians die of hunger." Yeah. Oh, these are just such wonderful people. Yeah, are you going to stand with Israel? Mm-hmm. And one more quote here from Itamar Ben-Gvir. He was the Minister of National Security. He said last year on July 8th, 2025, I quote, "They should be crushed to pieces, starved to death, and not resuscitated with humanitarian aid that gives them oxygen." This is what we're dealing with, folks. This is the mentality of our greatest ally. Yeah, the ally that we send $3.8 billion to every year. The greatest ally, like I said, that we pay their health care, we pay their education, we pay for all of their military. When does the insanity stop? When do we take care of America? All right, I hope I got those wheels turning up there in the cranium, folks. Now, I don't hate anybody. I really, because, the opposite of love is hate. And I do pray for these people that they will somehow lift the scales off of their eyes. But I will tell you, I'm going to put on the armor of God. Yeah, and I hope all of you out there took to heart the message of the samurai. Because we are all samurai. And the battle for humanity is fully engaged right now. Get your priorities straight, folks. It's up to every single one of us. All right, that said, we're flat out of time for our Taco Tuesday version of the WTF Reports. I'm Dave vonKleist, and I thank you for your listenership. Yeah, you can click like, share, subscribe, use word of mouth, share the word about this broadcast. And until tomorrow, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.